This is my latest acquisition, a motorbike trailer. Now before you switch off, which is what I would have done a year or two ago, because the question is why would anybody buy a motorbike trailer? Let me come on to that in a minute. This is built by Phoenix Trailers in Bridgnorth in Shropshire, and they build it, this one specifically for a GS, a little bit wider, and I had an extra walk-up plank or ramp. So why have I bought it? We've been all over Europe, all over Britain. Our favourite is still Scotland, and it's a 5-6 hour haul to Scotland, as everybody knows. I love it. I've no problem with it at all. But when we get there, we go from hotel to hotel, and then this year we found that some of the hotels, not only were they very expensive compared to normal, compared to pre-COVID, but they didn't have enough staff to open the restaurants. So we were stuck in the middle of nowhere and nothing to eat. And the last thing that you want to do after riding all day, used often through torrential rain, is to put all your motorbike gear on again and go out and ride for 20 minutes to find a restaurant and then ride back in the middle of the night. So what we want to do is take the bike on the trailer and don't go hotel to hotel. We want to be able to rent a cottage and go out when the days are good, and also go out in the evening to restaurants. I want to make it even easier, and I want to be able to put a winch. I think I can make a platform here and put a winch on there. Then I don't even have to ride the bike up. So let's see how I get on with this. I need to create a little bit of metalwork to hold up a platform. So I've got some box section that I bought from B&Q a few years ago to make the frame for the GS engine, and I took that off so I can use this again. It's only cheap, 35 by 20 box section. So I just need to saw it to the two pieces before I braze them together to create a support for a plate at the front of the trailer. So let me just saw this bar into two sections. There's quite a coating or film or dried engine oil, all sorts of things on this metal, and I've got to braze two pieces together, so I'm just going to sand it to clean it right up to the bare metal again. Measured up a size of 250 by 300 and got a 10mm aluminium plate which has just been delivered, and I want to put it there to take a winch on here. So I need to take this bar off and measure very carefully the spacing of the holes to drill them before I do anything else. I've set up the plate on the milling machine with the dead center, and I can zero the settings. As you'll see there, they're all zeroed. This is the plate fixed using these two bolts that are long enough to go right through. But there's no support at this end, so that's why I've got to do that bit of fabrication with the box tube. Okay, here's the plate with the fabrication just here. This isn't brazed into it yet, and using this bolt going straight up with the leg and then right across, which I'll have to bolt in all across the plate at the top. This is a support which can take the winch, which will be able to take the winch on top of the plate. The bar is all set up now. I'm doing the pilot holes 120mm apart, and then I've got to tap these with an 8mm tap so I can screw the bolts into them from the plate. And I can tap with this milling machine. And reverse out. This time I'm going to drill 3 holes. This is in the back of the plate, 8mm, to take stainless steel bolts to bolt it to that fabrication that I'm doing so that it is quite firm. The plate is temporarily put on, and there is the fabrication underneath and marked, ready to braze onto the crossbar. I've cleaned the areas with alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, so there's no thing to grease or anything. I now got to coat these areas with the flux, and then position it exactly right here, and check with my, to make sure it is square. Is the end result. Now it's cooled down. The silver solder or the brazing has taken very, very well. It's gone in, it's really, really strong. Tried hitting it with a hammer, it doesn't move at all. This is the cross member piece. I've cut brass plates for each end just to stop it just collecting all the dirt, and braze them on. So that's come out very well. And it's all ready now for priming and painting before I can assemble it all. So lots of light coats. So that's the primer done. Now many light coats of silver. Silver all complete, ready to fit. It's now time to begin to assemble the winch, which comes in quite a few pieces. It's a Rhino winch, 12 volt, £104 on Amazon, I think. I've got mounting bolts, and everything's been drilled in the plate and tapped. So the first thing I've done is to take the nuts off the bottom here, which make it stand 12mm too high, and thread 10mm threads into the hole there, so that can actually screw in, bolt down, saves it standing proud. This is the mounting plate. I've already put the roller part on, and this has to be fixed first with 4 countersink screws. And this can be fitted. The rollers are first, and instead of having a 12 6mm nut on the end I've tapped and threaded into the base plate, so this can hold itself. Just put everything light at the moment. And then we have 4 screws, bolts in the bottom. There's one. And do the same on the underside of here with a new nylon lock. These can be now tightened up, but not too much, otherwise they stop the rollers going around. So take them up into the plate. As tight as they'll go. No, that's too tight now. That's better. Too loose. Too tight. I've put the fabricated support bar all sprayed in silver, bolted it to the existing bolt that went through the trailer stanchion there, and it's all level, ready to take the plate with the winch on it. So to line up the plate, these are the existing bolts, so nothing else has been, nothing at all has been drilled into the trailer frame. These 3 bolts that go through onto the bar underneath can now be bolted in. The installation of the winch is now complete. I've just moved this control unit down so that the jockey wheel doesn't catch. The cables for the 12-volt battery are understandably quite long, probably almost 2 meters. So I'll keep the battery in the boot, but what I've done is buy these ties off Amazon, bolted them with 6mm stainless steel bolts there, and these ties, separately from Amazon, are the removable type, so you can reuse them time and again. And that makes a very neat way of attaching them firmly, securely, while I drive. The zip ties can be undone and the cable taken into the boot where the battery is. So this is the trailer, of course, and it's form ready to load the bike, but I want to show you how it folds in half first, and then where I can store it. There's a few bolts to take out, but that's all. Now I can get it back in the garage. That is the steel eye that goes right up through the rafters, 2 extra rafters and a cross brace I put in the attic itself. This is the extra beams I've put in the attic. There's 2 over there strapped, and there's the top of the actual hanging loop that goes through, and then another crossed member to strengthen it again. So now time to put back this mountain of fiberglass for insulation. When I first thought about a winch on the trailer, the reason was to be able to pull the trailer up against a wall. It's too heavy for me to lift, which you're supposed to be able to do, but I've got a spare wheel, and now I've added the winch on. But I thought if I could get a winch, a 12-volt winch, I could pull it up against a wall. That was primarily my reason. And then when I realised this could also winch the bike up. Well, it was money well spent. So let's see how it goes. And it's as simple as that. And put in a little tie strap, gives it that little bit more security. That is now tucked beautifully in my garage, up against the wall, onto an eyelet in the ceiling. We can put it down for a second. I can undo the winch.
Okay,
I don't need to undo.
Oh, the winch should take the wet pressure. Yeah, I can feel the weight coming towards me now.
Okay.
Let it roll down.
That's it. It's on the winch.
Yeah. Heavy for heather.
Okay. Well, we've got the